right, you ready, Chris? Tim? Yeah. Okay, welcome to the Village Board meeting of October 27th. Pursuant to Governor Pritzker's order, this meeting is held remotely via Zoom. Roll call, Mrs. Thomas. Can you hear me?
No, sorry. Trustee
Roll call.
Dawkins.
Here. And Ms. Purcell stated that she texted saying that she's got bad internet connection.
All right. Trustee Washington.
Here.
Trustee Roman.
Here.
Trustee Heiferman.
Here.
Trustee Burnson.
Here.
President Hofeld.
Here. Representing staff this evening, to my left is our village attorney, Chris Cummings. To my right is our village manager, Jim Marino. Attending by Zoom is our finance director, Dennis Bubenek, assistant village manager, Napoleon Haney, public works director, John Schaefer, and economic and community development director, Angela Maceras. The minutes of October 13th, any additions or corrections? Trustee Dawkins.
No.
Trustee Washington.
No.
Trustee Roman.
Nothing.
Trustee Heiferman.
I have none.
Trustee Burnson.
I have nothing.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
So moved, Bunsen.
Seconded. Trustee Washington.
And moved by Trustee Burnson, seconded by Trustee Washington. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dawkins.
Aye.
Trustee Washington.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Burnson.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. The claims list in the amount of $117,051.95. Trustee Dawkins, comments or questions?
Nothing.
Trustee Washington.
Nothing.
Trustee Roman.
I have nothing.
Trustee Heiferman.
I have no questions.
And Trustee Burnson.
I have no questions.
May I have a motion to approve the claims list, please?
So moved. Trustee Washington.
Second, Roman.
Been moved by Trustee Washington, second by Trustee Roman. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dawkins.
Aye.
Trustee Washington.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Burnson.
Aye.
The claims list is approved. Item number 7, here from the audience. It should be noted there's no one in the audience here this evening. Any comments that you've received? Mrs. Thomas.
Yes, I have 3 comments. Received October 15th at 9:06 p.m. Here it is, Thursday evening. Had my business meeting earlier and struggled to hear my colleagues over the music from the band from Mama and Me Pizza. Called the police. The volume never went down. Spoke with the officer who told me that he wasn't going to request the band to lower the volume because he determined the noise level to be reasonable for a business that is less than 200 feet from my house. I can hear the lyrics word for word sitting here in my house with the windows and doors closed. I have invited the police to come in and hear the level of the band. They refuse. They are supposed to stop playing at 6 p.m. and it is after that time and they just started another song. I have invited the village manager and the mayor to come and hear the level of the band. Haven't seen anyone yet. All I am asking is that the volume is lowered and yet nothing. After Napoleon Haney called me a week and a half ago, the band's volume was slightly lower and much more reasonable. I could hear the music in the background, but I could not hear the lyrics word for word in my house. Tonight, it is worse than ever. So I called the police and they sent a male officer who did absolutely nothing. In the past, whenever I have called and a female officer named Laura has been assigned the issue, the volume has been toned down to a more reasonable level. However, Officer Sline and Officer Wiest refused to even request that the volume is lowered. Why the disparity? Why doesn't the village hold Mama and Me consistently accountable for keeping the volume at a reasonable level? I have had to listen to 9 to 10 hours of this loud music now for months. It is interfering with my work and my sleep and my ability to enjoy the home I have lived in for almost 15 years here in Homewood. I have already written to the village board about the issue several times. I was greatly appreciative and hopeful when Napoleon Haney called me and spoke about the situation, but nothing has changed and the volume is actually louder than ever. Who is holding Mama and Me Pizza accountable? Why isn't it that when the volume is loud enough for the neighbors to complain, the band has to stop playing? That would certainly stop this from happening again and again. I would love to have some actual solutions put into place. We are going on 6 months of this racket. Perhaps someone from the village board can send me with the list of their addresses. I can come and play music outside your houses for 9 to 10 hours a week at this volume. Then we would see how quickly the situation is addressed. Robin Predney. Received October 17, 9:37 p.m. Here I am, yet another Saturday evening ruined by the noise coming from the loud band at Mama and Me Pizza. Trying to watch television, and I've turned up the volume, but I can still hear the band over the television. As the night progresses, the volume goes up louder and louder. Didn't even bother to call the Homewood Police Department tonight since they have utterly failed in helping the situation. But I have been recording the music level inside my house tonight, and I will continue to do so since not a single representative from the village or from the police department has been in my house to consider the impact of the volume of the band. I will go to the police department and gather records of my numerous calls to the police department and organize my records of the numerous emails I have sent to Mayor Hofeld, the village manager, and the board to attempt to remedy this situation. Then, if there is no further movement or remedy for this situation, I will file an injunction in court to stop the music and address the pain and suffering that I have had to bear for the past several months, despite my pleas for mediation and help. I am so disappointed in the services of the village and its disregard and concern for the residents and how this noise affects our neighborhood. I moved here 22 years ago and raised my family here, and I expect better from the officials elected to care for the town. Robin Predney. Received today, October 27 at 3:05. I, Jeffrey Noonan, Homewood resident at 18134 Los Angeles Avenue and founder and chair of the Homewood Sexiest Yard Award Committee, support the appointment of Karen Gallagher on the Homewood Beautification Committee as identified under Agenda Item 8A. We further support the entire Homewood Beautification Committee in their effort to recognize Homewood's residents' great work to make their yards beautiful for all to enjoy. The Homewood Sexiest Yard Award Committee will continue to recognize Homewood's residents that work hard to make their yards sexy. Jeff Noonan on behalf of the Homewood Sexiest Yard Committee.
Thank you, Mrs. Thomas. With regard to the first two letters, Mr. Marino?
Yes, I can tell you that I was at Mama and Me not this past weekend, but the weekend before, both on Friday and Saturday evening. When I was there on Friday, I listened to the music and the band. I did not feel it was very loud. I was at the back of the property at the time. I wanted to speak to the owner of the business, but she wasn't available at that time. I went back there on Saturday evening. It was a different band, and it was loud. It was clearly loud at that time. I spoke with the owner of Mama and Me, and she was very cooperative. She asked the band to lower their volume, which they did significantly. I went to the back of the property with the owner, stood out there with her for a couple songs, and the volume had been reduced significantly. I didn't feel it was that loud. I drove down Gottschalk block over and didn't hear the music on Gottschalk. So when I spoke with the owner, she was accommodating. She spoke with the band and had the music lowered. My information from the police chief, when I've spoken to him several times during the summer about this, is when the officers have gone there, the band has either lowered the volume or else they didn't feel it was loud enough to do anything. So that's what I can tell you on this issue. We've tried to address it. The officers have spoken to the owner and to the resident, and as she indicated in her letter, she's also corresponded and spoken with Napoleon Haney. The owner did tell me that She was only going to have 2 more weekends of music this past weekend and this upcoming weekend. So after this upcoming weekend, she doesn't plan on having any more music outside due to the weather. Apparently the music was okay this weekend. I didn't get any emails or calls that I'm aware of from the resident.
Okay, thank you. The omnibus vote, again, Mrs. Thomas.
The board is asked to approve the appointment of Karen Gallagher for a 5-year term on the Beautification Committee ending October 27, 2025. The board is asked to approve the reappointment of Barbara Ferrari to the Stormwater Resources Committee for a 3-year term ending November 8, 2023. The board is asked to authorize President Hofeld to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Cook County Department of Public Health to provide environmental health inspection services relating to food service sanitation and retail food store sanitation. The $24,000 agreement is for 1 year. The board is asked to pass 3 ordinances related to the Dixie Highway Miller Court Tax Increment Financing District. The board is asked to pass Ordinance M2146 approving the redevelopment plan and project for the TIF. The board is asked to pass Ordinance M2148 designating the Dixie Highway Miller Court redevelopment project area. The board is asked to approve Ordinance M2147 adopting tax increment allocation financing for the TIF redevelopment area. The board is asked to pass Ordinance M2145, extending outdoor food and liquor service to April 30, 2021. This is designed to help Homewood residents during the COVID-19 pandemic. The board is asked to approve Ordinance MC 1042 regarding charges for burglary and robbery false alarms. The village has been charging for excessive false alarms. The ordinance will implement changes due to new software updates on a computer program that registered alarms and billing options. The board is asked to take 3 actions related to the purchase of 2 vehicles for the police department, a police supervisor's vehicle and a patrol car. The board is asked to approve a budget amendment for $5,000 to increase the 2020-21 budget for the patrol car to $56,000 for a 2021 Ford Utility Police Interceptor AWD hybrid. The board is asked to waive competitive bidding, allowing the village to purchase the vehicle in Frankfurt for a total of $55,325, which includes the police package. The board is asked to waive competitive bidding, allowing for the purchase of a 2020 Ford Expedition XL for the police supervisor's vehicle. The purchase will be made through the Suburban Purchasing Cooperative through Coons Country Ford in Antioch for a total of $59,000.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the board? Trustee Dawkins.
Nothing.
Trustee Washington.
No.
Trustee Roman.
I have nothing.
Trustee Heiferman.
I have no comments on anything.
Trustee Burnson.
I have nothing.
May I have a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda, please?
So moved. Williamson.
Been moved by Trustee Washington, seconded by Trustee Burnson. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dawkins,
Aye.
Trustee Washington,
Aye.
Trustee Roman,
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman,
Aye.
Trustee Burnson.
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved. New business. Item number 9, ordinance M2149, a special use for fitness center and events business at 18675 to 18677 Dixie Highway. Mrs. Maceras.
Yes. On application by Love Events is a special use to operate at 18675 to 18677 Dixie Highway. This is 2 units located in a plaza in Southgate at approximately 3,500 square feet. A portion of the business will be dedicated to fitness classes, which are defined as a learning center in our zoning code, which is the same as the previous use, which was a yoga studio. Also part of this business are events. An event space, which will include events such as business meetings, bridal showers, baby showers, and similar such events. The parking requirement for the previous yoga use was 14. This amount is the same as the fitness component would be. They're available in the lot, 23 parking spaces. However, the events portion would be considered by our code a meeting hall, which would require additional parking to a total of 35 spaces. The Planning and Zoning Commission considered this application at a public hearing. The vote was 4 commissioners opposed, 2 commissioners in favor, and 1 commissioner absent. 4 positive votes are required in order to have a positive recommendation. Commissioners expressed concerns at the meeting related to only the events portion of this use. They were in support of the fitness portion. Their concerns were vehicular access to the property, both off of Dixie and the alleyway, limited available parking within the parking lot dedicated to this commercial building, and the impact on the residential neighborhood directly to the east. In order to mitigate these factors, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended conditions, which are included in the drafted approval ordinance in your board packets. The applicant has agreed to the conditions, which include the types of uses, the hours of operation, a limit of 15-person capacity at any one time at the facility, no food preparation on site, and no alcohol served. In addition, since the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, the applicant has secured additional parking across the street in Flossmoor at a vacant building at 18708 Dixie. This building is currently vacant. However, parking may need to be revisited if this property were to be occupied in the future. The applicant, Ms. Zenobia Love, is on this Zoom call and available to present her application and to answer questions.
Mrs. Love, are you there? Mrs. Love?
1 second, Mayor. I'm giving her access.
Hi, good evening, Mayor.
Go right ahead. Did you hear Ms. Maceras?
Yes, I did.
What would you like to add to that?
Yes, I just wanted to give a little background about our business. Love Events is focused on health, wellness, fitness, and community. So we would like to open up a studio where we would offer yoga classes, cycling classes, step aerobics, as well as fitness. In addition, we do have some ancillary events, things like wellness classes, health fairs, seminars, networking events, and other events that support wellness and community. So I am asking the board to consider letting us have up to 15 guests for our fitness classes and up to 30 guests for our ancillary events. From the last hearing, I know that parking was a concern, but as Angela stated, I did secure overflow parking of 30 spots across the street at 18708 Dixie Highway. As far as our hours of operation, we will only operate Monday through Thursday from 11 to 8 p.m., Friday through Saturday, 10 to 9 p.m., and Sundays to 6 p.m. by appointment only.
In the synopsis that we've received, it says the events will be a maximum of 15 people. Did you just say there would be 30?
Our original request was up to 15 for our guests for the exercise classes, but we originally asked up to 30 guests for any events. And I think the board had an issue with that because of parking. And so we did secure the parking up to 30. So I believe right now, if we have the additional parking, I believe we will be up to 45. Am I right, Angela? Because our parking, I think, was like 14, 15, and the additional spots will be 30.
Your required parking was 14, yes.
Ms. Love, I had driven over to that space you're renting. There aren't 30 spaces there.
No, across the street is 30 spaces.
No, ma'am, there aren't. That's the building that's abandoned. And at the most, you have perhaps 15 spaces.
Okay.
There are not 30 spaces there.
When I talked to Mr. Holden across the street, he's the one that has the radio station there. He informed me it was 30. But if you saw 15, I understand.
If you take a ride over there, there are not.
Okay.
So the maximum you have there is roughly 15 spaces.
Okay.
So when you had appeared before the zone board, you had said your maximum events would be 15 people. And now you want to double that, correct?
In the meeting, I asked for 15 for our guests for the fitness classes and up to 30 guests for the ancillary events. Was that my original request?
Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to add at this time?
I would really like the board to consider having up to 15 for the exercise classes and up to 30 guests for the ancillary events. And that's not saying that we're going to have 30 people at the events, just in case. That was the reason why we tried to secure extra spots. But we do planning for our events, so I would know exactly how many people would be in attendance. So I would ask that if you would allow us to have up to 30 for events, if possible.
I think the Zone Board and Plan Commission were right in what they said about the fitness aspect of it. And 15 people, I personally don't see increasing it to 30.
Okay.
But we'll have board discussion. Trustee Dawkins?
Our board packet had reflected the 15, and it was my understanding that Ms. Love was in agreement with the 15 as recommended. I do have a question though. Was there anything that was approved by the zone board, or was it all denied? Was it approved with the amendments, Ms. Massaro? Okay.
The motion included the amendments, assuming that the petitioner agreed to them, which she did at the meeting, and then they voted 4-2, so they did not vote in favor of it.
And as far as staff's recommendation, is that recommendation with the 30 people for the ancillary events? Because I thought, and perhaps I read it wrong, I thought that Ms. Love had agreed to limit the attendees to 15 for both the fitness aspect and for the other events.
It was also my understanding that she had agreed to that. That was the motion by the Planning and Zoning Commission. It was 15 for both.
My thoughts on this, I'm sorry, Ms. Love.
No, I was saying my original statement to them was to ask for the 30, but then when they limited down to the 15, I had to be in agreement because that was the standard for the parking spaces that were there. But since I have secured the overflow parking, I was requesting this evening if we could go to the 30.
You know, I guess my thoughts are, now listen to the other board members, on the fence with this, because initially when it was my understanding that Ms. Love was in agreement with limiting the guests to 15, irrespective of what the use at that time was going to be it the fitness or events, I didn't really see that much of a difference between this use and the prior use being the yoga studio, and that, you know, that business was there for several years. I am very familiar with this property. There's virtually no parking there. And the building across the street to which Ms. Love is referring, there isn't a lot of parking there. I don't know where the 30 is coming from. So I don't know that I can support up to 30 people for ancillary events. I just don't really see it. I don't see this property being able to accommodate more than 15 people.
Trustee Washington?
I would have to agree, but my feeling is more because of the current situation that we're going through in this second wave, and I don't see it right now. So I would have to go with what the committee advised.
Trustee Roman?
I agree. To use Trustee Dawkins' words, I was on the fence about this. I hate to have to tell a business that wants to come into town and bring their business here, no, but we also have to consider the surrounding businesses and in the area. And I think that I attended yoga classes when that was a yoga studio, and there were maybe 8 people in the class, and we still had a difficult time finding parking. So I would have to agree that 30 is too many, but if you can rework the business plan to be where you have 15, I could see us supporting that. Or myself, sorry, I shouldn't speak for
Okay. Thank you.
Heiferman?
I agree. I would support the opinion of the committee, but I don't. I'm concerned about crossing the street at night, because there are hours when it will be nighttime, and there aren't really good crosswalks from the former Anthonison building. I think that's what we're talking about. There's really not a real good way and a safe way to walk across the street at night. So I couldn't support it. However, I think for the fitness use and, with the accepted numbers, I would support it.
Trustee Burnson?
I agree with Trustee Heiferman. I had a problem listening with that parking across the street. I think it's extremely dangerous. I had no problem with the fitness studio, and I have no problem with an event keeping at 15 as well. If that's what Ms. Love would agree to, I just don't like using that parking lot. I don't think it's a good use with that being kitty corner. It's not even straight across the street. So that's would be my opinion.
I agree. Ms. Love, is there anything else you would like to add?
Yes, I would agree to the 15. I understand your concerns with the parking across the street.
Ms. Saris, did you hear that?
I did.
Okay. So what you're saying is, as presented to us, you would have a fitness center there and an events with a maximum of 15 people at all times. Is that correct, Ms. Love?
That is correct.
Okay. Any comments from the board with regard to that? Okay. May I have a motion to approve ordinance M2149, a special use fitness center and events business?
So moved.
Is this, I'm sorry, I would seek clarification. Is this as amended to the 15?
Correct. As presented at the 15.
Can I ask a question before we vote?
Sure.
What happens if, and Ms. Love, I'm just curious if it goes above the 15 and we've already granted the permit, how do we deal with that situation?
Ms. Maceras?
Well, that would mean that the special use permit could be revoked.
Okay.
Okay, are you aware of that, Ms. Love, then?
Yes.
Okay. So with that being said, is there a motion to approve ordinance M2149?
So moved, Washington.
It's been moved by Trustee Washington. Is there a second?
Second, Heiferman.
And seconded by Trustee Heiferman. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dawkins.
Aye.
Trustee Washington.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Burnson.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Ms. Love.
Thank you, Mayor.
Discussion on a liquor license request for Don Goya Fine Mexican Cuisine. Cuisine or Cuisine? Mr. Bubinek?
Thank you, Rich. Back in June of 2019, Laura D. Garcia approached the village about opening a restaurant at 17536 Dixie Highway. It would be called Don Goya Fine Mexican Cuisine. So the name's kind of self-explanatory. With that proposal also came a request for a liquor license. Talked to the liquor commissioner. It seemed to be an appropriate request to bring to the village board. But the project stalled. It just stopped. Didn't hear anything for months. Kind of fell off to the back burner. About 2 months ago, the building inspector told me, wow, that Don Goyo is really moving forward, which made me think, wow, the board never talked about this liquor license. So I talked to the liquor commissioner, village manager, village attorney. We had decided, since so much time had passed, that I'd ask for a new letter requesting a liquor license and an updated business plan. And those are both attached tonight. So that's where we're at today. We do have a recommendation here. It is difficult to bring the applicant in during this COVID situation. So of course, if there's any questions, I'll get those answered and bring them back to the board. But we do have a recommendation here. If the village board is in favor of this request, staff should be directed to begin the liquor license application process for Don Goyo Fine Mexican Cuisine and prepare an ordinance to increase the allowed number of licenses in the appropriate class. Now, village attorney and village manager are working on an update of the municipal code, and the liquor license classes will be updated. I assume this would be one of the 75-25, where there would be no more than 25% of their sales could come from this sale of liquor. But again, attorney and manager are working on that update right now as we speak.
Do we have any indication as to when she plans to open?
Building inspector told me 2 months.
Well, hopefully things are better and she's able to open at that time. Comments or questions from the board? Trustee Dawkins?
And God bless anyone who's willing to open any business, let alone a restaurant in these times.
Yeah. Trustee Washington?
Comments for me.
Trustee Roman?
I will always support a Mexican restaurant that wants. I'm
Carry
excited.
out or take, or sit down.
Yep, I'll be their best customer.
Trustee Heiferman?
I have nothing.
Trustee Burnson?
No comments.
May I have a motion to direct staff to honor this liquor license request for Don Goyo?
So moved. Roman.
Second, Burnson.
Thank you. It's been moved by Trustee Roman, seconded by Trustee Burnson. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dawkins.
Aye.
Trustee Washington.
Aye.
Trustee Roman. Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Burnson.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Mr. Bubenek, the 2020 real estate tax levy discussion.
Thanks, Rich. This is the time of the year that taxing bodies are required to discuss with their elected officials, their elected boards, draft real estate tax levy for the coming year. Then in December, most of us will bring back, including the Village of Homewood, the actual ordinance for the real estate tax levy. Here at the Village of Homewood, these real estate taxes are set under a process that's dictated by the state. I've summarized that in the in the memo, but you probably heard it before. We are allowed to raise the total levy by the change in the consumer price index that is known at 2.3%. And then we are allowed a factor for new construction based on data at hand. We'll estimate that at 2.5%. So the total levy this year will be allowed to increase by 4.8%. Now, at this point, we do have to allocate that increase between the pension funds and the day-to-day operations. Over the past 10 years, the pension funds have required more and more of the tax levy, and that's accomplished by reducing the day-to-day tax levy. So this is another year where we are doing that. The pension part of the levy is up 12%, so the day-to-day operation is down 5.8%. That's how we make the levy work. We kind of almost work backwards. We know what the total is, and then we divide it up between pensions and day-to-day. On the debt side of the levy, there is no tax caps. It has to be set at the amount required to pay back the principal and interest. We have recently paid off our 2017 GO bonds. They were at an interest rate of 1.95%, replaced them with 2020 GO bonds at an interest rate, record low, 0.85%. So over the coming 3 years, we will be reducing interest required through the levy 43.6% versus what we did just recently with our bonds. So, but we can't move that money to day-to-day or to pensions. So our total tax levy based on our worksheet is going to be $6,737,322, of which $2,243,708 is for day-to-day operations, and pensions will be $3,851,290. So then again, that's a total levy $6,737,322 as presented tonight, an increase of 5.4%. We provide an example in our memo of a location that pays $6,000 in taxes. The Village of Homewood is only 10% of the tax bill, so in that case, they're paying $600. With tonight's draft levy, that would increase $32 to $632, or about $2.70 per month increase over last year. This real estate tax levy covers 11% of our general fund operations, which would be day-to-day, 63% of our pension obligations, and 100% of our debt. So that $632 does go a long ways to help our operation in the coming year. So that's basically what I have on the levy tonight. Now, take any questions. Again, this is a draft levy. The final will come back to you in December. So again, if you have any questions, I will certainly follow up and get you that information.
Okay, comments or questions? Trustee Dawkins.
Thank you, Dennis, for a very straightforward and approachable memo regarding this tax levy. I mean, basically, as we say every year, it is what it is, but I do appreciate you, your presentation on this and the way that you've explained it in the memo.
Trustee Washington.
My comments are similar, so thank you.
And we miss your charts here too, Dennis. Trustee Roman.
I agree. Thank you so much for always making this very understandable. So thank you, and we appreciate it.
Trustee Heiferman.
The same. Thanks for making it understandable for us.
And Trustee Burnson.
Thanks, Dennis. Good job as usual.
I think what's most revealing is when you gave that example, Dennis, of a $6,000 tax bill, only 10% of that is for the Village of Homewood. So that increase applies only to that 10%, which equates to roughly, as you said, $2.75 a month, well within reason. With that, any general board discussion? Trustee Dawkins.
I have two things. First, we're in the Halloween holiday season, so I am hoping that everyone has a safe Halloween. Be careful. If you choose to go trick-or-treating, be careful. If you choose to have some sort of festivities indoors, be careful. We want to keep Homewood and our entire community healthy. So that's the first comment. The second one is make sure, if you haven't already, get out there and vote. Early voting is still going on, and let your voice be heard.
Trustee Washington.
Couldn't have said it better.
Trustee Roman.
I have nothing else to add.
Trustee Heiferman.
I have nothing tonight.
Trustee Burnson.
Just continue to be safe. Numbers are going up.
Yeah, and with that in mind, keep in mind the governor has issued a mandate closing suburban restaurants, but that does not close their takeouts. So please support our local restaurants with carry-out orders. They really need our business. With that, may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved. Trustee Washington.
Second, Roman.
Been moved by Trustee Washington, second by Trustee Roman. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dawkins.
Aye.
Trustee Washington.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Burnson.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you all.